Hello, it's Ed, Charlie Tango 842 here with a video in English, and I'm going to do this in English despite many of the subscribers to my channel being French, only because I've had some questions come in about this radio, the TYT TH-446, and all of them have been from people living in England. So this is a one-take video, warts and all. It might run on to be a bit long, so if you've got a very busy life and haven't got time to watch a YouTube video that runs for quite a few minutes, then stop watching now and don't say that I didn't warn you. So a little bit of background here. PMR446 was legalised in the UK in 1999 from memory, and we were given the 8 channels that we know and love today using the FM mode, no digital at all. A few years after that, Ofcom in the UK decided to authorise 8 more channels, which we now know as channels 9 to 16, and those are 100 kilohertz higher in frequency than the original 8. And sensibly, the original idea was that digital PMR would be on the new channels but no analogue, and analogue on the original 8 channels but no digital, to avoid mutual interference, which was very sensible, except for the fact that hardly anybody made digital PMR radios. I think Icom made a handheld and maybe one other manufacturer, but to this day I have never heard a digital signal or anything that sounds like a digital signal on the PMR bands. So that was the status quo for a decade or so. Around about 2015-2016, Ofcom announced that from a future date, that ended up being 2018 I think it was, they were going to drop the mode requirements, and both modes, analog and digital, would be acceptable across all 16 channels. Now these days we've got the Florian FC200, a nice looking radio which I'm seriously thinking about getting, but they only came along a year or two back. So in 2015 or whenever it was, I got wind that this change was coming, so I thought I would buy myself a street legal PMR446 radio that would do all 16 channels. So I hunted around on eBay and I found this. But here's the weird thing, I'd never heard of this model before 2015, 2016, whenever it was. Since I won it or bought it on an eBay auction, I've not seen another one for sale on eBay. I've not seen or heard of anybody else owning one or using one. So I don't know. This was new, I think. Can't remember where it came from. It came from a seller in the UK. Can't remember how much I paid for it. I mean, it wasn't Baofeng cheap, but it wasn't mega expensive either. I've got 40 to 50 pounds in memory, somewhere around there, but don't absolutely quote me on that one. But if you do a search for this on the internet today, there's an equivalent radio with the same name, TH-446, that covers VHF, but I have never seen another one of these on sale, never read about it, so I don't know if this was a prototype or a very limited run or something like that. If they only did make a few of them, it could be because the power is adjustable. Low power is 1/2 watt, which is fine for PMR446. Medium power is 2 watts I think, and high power is 3 or 4 watts. Now with the supplied rubber duck antenna, really if you ran the higher power it wouldn't be worth it, because the SWR is likely to be quite high. your battery would go flat a lot quicker, and you would probably be losing a lot of that extra energy in heat. I don't know if the antenna is removable or not. I've tried, obviously I like this radio, I don't want to damage it. I've tried unscrewing it to no avail, but I haven't used a lot of brute force strength and ignorance. So I've boxed it up as it came. Obviously I've had it out of the box, but just to show you what you get if you can find one of these. You get the instruction manual. Now I would say this has been written by somebody who has English as his or her first language. It's very comprehensive, and I wonder if maybe this is a generic manual for several different radios, because this makes out that it covers VHF as well. It doesn't, that I know of. And it also, that's what you should get in the box, by the way, if you buy one of these. But further on in, it also talks about how to attach the antenna, and from the look of it, it's a female antenna going into a male socket. And then it goes on and talks about the belt clip, and one of the questions I got asked is it programmable? To which the answer is yes, there's a Kenwood socket on the side. But we'll carry on with that in a minute. You get the manual. You get a little verification sticker. Quite what that does or how it proves anything I don't know, because if you were producing fake stuff, I don't imagine it would be too hard to produce a triangular bit of cardboard. The battery, 7.4 volts, 1300 milliamp hours. Now I reckon that could be true, because this is not particularly heavy. If it had said 1700 milliamp hours or 2000 milliamp hours, I might have thought, nah, not sure I believe you. But given the relative light weight of that, that could actually be an accurate reading. The charger cradle looks like that. I don't know if this is compatible with any other makes of radio. No mains outlet on it. It's powered by a DC adapter, and you get two if you want to use a cigarette lighter socket. You get one of those. The way I recharge it is using the supplied mains adapter. So 220 volts only, it's not universal, so don't take this over to America and plug it in without a transformer. And it puts out 12.5 volts DC, it says here, and this isn't big, but it is a lot heavier than I was expecting it to be, so I think this is quite decently made. I would imagine there's quite a lot of circuitry in there, maybe some interference suppression. That's a good solid chunky mains adapter. You also get a little thing of silica gel to stop everything in there getting wet or anything, and then you get the radio itself. Now this is how it came in the box, with the antenna already attached. So if I get this out, I'm not saying that there isn't an SMA socket under there, but if there is, that is really solidly fixed on there, or maybe it's glued as well, I don't know. So the battery goes on like that, and when you first get it, it's pre-programmed to the PMR446 channels. I can't remember if it was just the original 8 programmed in there, or the upper 8 as well for the whole 16. One of the first things I did was get the Kenwood programming cable out and programmed it up, because this radio will cover 400 to 470 megs, so you can use it on the 70 centimetre amateur radio band, license permitting of course. And I've programmed it up to a couple of local repeaters. It'll do repeater shifts of the size you specify, so it'll work on the wide shift 7.6 meg split ones, not just the older 1.6 meg split, which is good. And there are 3 power levels that are selectable, but I would never run this on full power. Medium would be the highest I would go, and walking around Worthing Town Centre, if I run 500 milliwatts through GB3WO, which is the Worthing Town Centre repeater, can talk to people, no problem at all. Always good quality audio reports. The loudspeaker works quite well, nice audio. There is an FM radio built in. I wouldn't use it to listen to music particularly if I was a hi-fi fan, but it works fine for speech radio, for news bulletins, that kind of thing. And it's got all the usual stuff that you might expect. Power saver, talk out timer, I've got that set to 3 minutes. CTCSS on receive and transmit. And if you're familiar with the menus settings with the Baofeng UV5R, there is a passing resemblance, although there are fewer options here. If I turn this on, so channels 1 to 16, I've got the PMR446, UK General, the 3 UHF frequencies, which these days are actually 5 or 7. No, it's gone up now, isn't it? But the upper ones of those are not normally used. Then for receive, I've also got FRS channel 1, in case anybody's using American FRS radios over here illegally. Baofeng BF888S channel 1, again illegal to use in the UK and probably most other places, but I say again, this is for monitoring rather than transmitting. And then last but not least, the 2 70 SEMS repeaters, GB3WO in Worthing, GB3IW on the Isle of Wight. So the questions were that I got asked: is it programmable? Yes, not in chirp as far as I know, but there is some bespoke software that you can download from the TYT website, which is much of a muchness really. It will cover more than just 446, 400 to 470 megs, programmable via a Kenwood type connection. Is the antenna detachable? Possibly, but I ain't going to break the thing to try to find out. Would I recommend this radio? Yes, wholeheartedly, if you can find one. It is so weird. It's almost as if they made this one and then the UHF version just was dropped or discontinued or something like that. If it was, I'm wondering if it's to do with the fact that you can up the power, which meant that it wouldn't become type approved in the UK, because with that name, TH-446, they're obviously aiming for that band, aren't they? So it's a bit of a strange one, this. If I were in the market today, I would buy a Flurry and FC200. I still might as well, but the fact that this will do all 16 PMR channels and amateur stuff as well, and is legal-ish, endears it to me a lot. And one final word on battery life. I have charged this up. I can't remember when the last time was I charged it up actually, but I've still got 3 bars showing there. Because this clicks when you turn it off, you turn it off properly. It's not like a soft on-off switch, so there is either no parasitic drain or it's so small it's immeasurable. It's certainly not like on the Wushan, where if you leave the battery connected to the back for 3 months, your fully charged battery will be flat or nearly flat the next time you turn it on. And it's also not like my Yaesu, some of my handhelds. This will charge the battery up here in a reasonable amount of time, a couple of hours from completely flat to completely full. It's not like my Yaesu FT1DXE, which takes about 12 hours. So there we go. Thank you for watching this. I've gone on over 15 minutes already. If you have any questions that I haven't covered, then please do leave them in the comments below. I'm not intending to re-record this video in French, but if enough people ask me to, I might get around to it eventually. So stay safe, enjoy the sunny weather, and hope that lockdown has been okay for you. And if you hear me on the air during the next big tropospheric opening, then it is more likely than not that this is the radio I'll be using. And certainly if I'm on any of the upper 8 channels. Other favourite radio is the Midland G7, but that's only the lower 8 that covers. I might do a review video of that one day as well. So 7.3 and enjoy. Bye bye.